Welcome back, painting friends. Today we are going to paint a request, which was a cute witch and a cute cat. So colors you're going to need, there's a lot. Red, orange, yellow, green, purple, brown, black, white, and then some sort of a skin color. I always use my favorite 4 brushes. I've got my 1-inch flat brush, my 10-6, and 1 round brush. Make sure to have a cup of water and a rag for keeping your brushes clean. And remember, if you're liking what you're seeing here today, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you have all the access to my videos. We're going to start with our number 10 round brush. And I'm just going to take some white paint up here and make a circle for my moon. Okay, now we're going to lose part of that circle, but that's a good way to get started knowing where our swirls are going to go. From there, I'm just going to take chunks of white paint, quite a bit of it, and I'm going to make lines that radiate around that circle. So these are all curved lines that could be like a moon glow almost from that circle. We could take this almost all the way down to the bottom, almost all the way to the sides. And then with that same brush, I'm going to go in with layers of yellow and layers of green. So layers of yellow and layers of green. I want this to be kind of an eerie, spooky sky. You can always throw in a different color like a teal or a blue. The sky color is really just kind of fun. But your goal is going to be to fill up this entire space using white, yellow, and green. So I'm going to keep my colors going in there, and then when it gets time to blend, I will show you how we're going to blend. Okay, all of my colors are on there. I had to go kind of fast, so they're all still wet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here in the center, and I'm just going to start to blend these colors out together. So just taking that paintbrush, and I do not mind if my brush strokes are all even or not even. Just making sure that they go all the way from one edge of the painting to the other. We're going to wash and dry that brush off. Now this next step you have to be really careful about. Purple and green and yellow, they don't always get along on a canvas well. Sometimes they'll turn into brown. But I'm going to take a little bit of purple paint and I'm just going to make some lines of purple. And I want them to blend enough so they look like they're part of it, but also not too much to where we get brown. So just little bits of purple, following those lines, brush over it a couple times and then leave it alone. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to clean up that moon. So I'm just going to go in with some white paint. I'm going to clean that moon line up. And then we are going to let this dry. When we come back, we will add in our cat and our witch. With a dry background, I'm now going to take my number 6 round brush and I'm going to lay out where my witch and my cat are going to go with my pumpkin. So right down here in this corner, I'm going to make my pumpkin, and pumpkins have a wavy line to the top of them. Okay, and there's like a little back bump there, and then that can just kind of fall off the bottom of the canvas. Now for my witch, she's going to be just above that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make her shoulders come out from the pumpkin, so 2 curved lines coming up, and then a V for her neck. From there, I'm going to make 2 lines for her neck, and then I'm going to give her a nice big oval head. We're not making a realistic witch, we're making a cartoon witch, okay? Nice big oval head. On top of that oval head, I'm going to make a line that comes from here and kind of loops around. That's going to be the top of her witch's hat. And then I'm going to make the peak of her witch's hat, and it's going to have a little bend in it. That is essentially where my witch girl is going to go. Now my kitty cat over here, same big oversized head. It's going to be at a little bit of an angle. He's going to be looking up at her. Now his body is just going to be a rectangle. Actually, it looks kind of more like a square, doesn't it? The cat tail is going to come out at a curve up here. From right here, we're going to make a line that kind of goes across the forehead, a curved line. That's going to be the top of the hat. And then I'm going to make 2 ears sticking out of that. And then this top of the witch hat is going to go up at an angle, and it's going to be an opposite from that witch. So let's go ahead and start painting everything in. I'm going to start over here with my black cat. Now my black cat's hat is going to be purple. And so I'm going to go in with that purple paint and just fill that space in. My cat itself, even though it's a black cat, I want it to be mostly black, but I want to add a little bit of white to my black because my details of my cat are going to be black and I want those to stand out. So I'm adding just a small amount of white paint to my black to make a very dark gray color. And then I can go ahead and paint all the rest of my cat in with that dark gray color. Now there's a couple little things we want to add to the bottom of our cat. And first of all, there's going to be like this little flat part right there. That's going to be one of his hind legs. And then I'm going to put 2 little lines. These are going to be his 2 front paws. And we'll add that in when we add in our details later. Wash that brush off. Let's go over here to our witch. My witch is going to have the same color dress as the cat's hat. So I'm going to take purple over here and fill this in with purple, and her hat is going to be black and her skin is going to be that skin color. So those are our 3 witch colors. I went ahead and let my background dry, and let's go ahead and finish up some of these details. So on my cat and witch's hat, I'm just going to make an orange line that goes across. For my witch's hair, I'm going to start right up here at the top, and I'm going to make an upside down letter V. From there, I could just kind of pull that hair down towards the side of her face and then connect it to the back of her head. Now when I do her hair, I'm going to use orange and red, and I'm just going to pull lines down to kind of fill in that space, making sure that the space between the hair and the face and the hat are kind of covered in. And you can make your hair go out a little bit and kind of make it, a little bit more fun and crazy, or you could just paint it regular, totally up to you. Now for some highlights in her hair, I'm going to take a little bit of yellow paint and just make a couple of little lines. From there, I am going to go ahead and take the back of a pencil. I like to use my eraser and my pencils to make nice solid lines, or nice solid circles. And I'm going to use some black paint, and I'm going to give her 2 nice big eyeballs. I'm going to wipe the back of that off, and I'm going to do the same thing with the cap, but I'm going to use white. I'm going to go back to my number 6 round brush, and I'm going to water down some of my black paint. What I'm going to do with that black paint is I am going to make my details on my cat. So right here on the back side, I'm just going to make his knee that is going to come around and around the bottom of that foot. And his arms are just going to have 2 curved lines. His front paws are going to have 2 curved lines. I can also go ahead and outline the bottom of where his chin is. And for his nose, it's just going to be an upside down triangle with 2 tiny little curves. I can of course add some whiskers in there also. Wash that brush off. I'm going to take a little bit of red paint and a little bit of white paint and make a nice light pink color. On the inside of his little cat ears, I'm just going to make a couple little lines that go up to fill in that center space with a little bit of light pink. Moving back over to our witch, I'm not going to give her a nose. She doesn't need one. But I am going to give her a really good smiley face. I'm also going to give her an eyebrow over here. And a couple of little eyelashes. Now let's talk about highlights on these two. A little bit of white paint. I'm going to make a highlight on the top of my cat's hat, on the brim of his hat, and on the back of his tail. With my witch, I'm going to make a highlight on the top of her hat, on this back side right there, the brim of her hat, and even a little bit on her hair. And let's go down here and focus on this pumpkin. When I like to make pumpkins, I like to make sure that I keep some lines on here. So I'm going to make some curved lines. So just 2 curved lines like that. And then from there, I'm going to make one more set that get a little bit wider. I like to mix my colors a lot when I paint pumpkins. So I'm going to use mostly yellow and a little bit of orange at the top. And I'm just going to make small little lines that kind of come down from the top of that pumpkin with that yellowish orange mix. From there, I'm going to keep that yellow on my brush, but I'm going to switch to mostly orange, and I'm going to fill in this bottom part, not the bottom part, the middle part with a little bit of orange. And then at the very bottom, again, I have not washed my brush yet. I'm going to take a little bit of red and pull that red up into that orange. And all that's going to do is give you a little bit of a shadow at the bottom and a little bit of highlight at the top. Wipe that brush off. I'm going to take a little bit of brown paint and redo those yellow lines with that little bit of brown. And then a little bit of orange and brown to fill in that back space. And wipe that brush off, a little bit of white paint, and this is not going to be blended as much. Just a couple little lines of white at the top for a highlight. And I'll take my brown to make my stalk. Now let's talk about this ground space. I have not added that in yet because I do want some of it to go on top of our figures. So I'm going to take some brown and green mix and I'm just going to kind of tap my brush along the bottom. And when I go in front of my pumpkin or my cat, I might cover up part of their body, but not all of it. So let's get that brown and green. Remember, just brown and green on my number 10 round brush. And all I'm doing is just kind of setting my brush down to give a texture of grass. With my number 10 round brush and some watered down white paint, we're going to add just a couple of clouds to our sky. So a little bit of watered down white paint on my number 10 round brush. And you can make realistic clouds of fun, whatever you want, but I'm just going to add some wispy clouds in the sky. So all I'm doing is watering down my white paint so you can see through it a little bit. And then I'm just kind of scribbling some clouds on there. We are going to let this dry, and when we come back, we're going to finish off our picture. Okay, it's final detail time. Let's do this. So on my black cat's eyes, I lied. I'm going to do my witch's eyes first. I'm going to do my pencil with a white dot. And then on my cat's eyes, I'm going to do the pencil with a black dot. Remember, I'm going to have these eyes kind of going up towards her, so they're going to be in the top right corner. See? Way less creepy. I'm going to grab my number 6 round brush with some watered down black paint. And I'm going to add just some detail lines around both of these people. So, cat and witch. So with some black paint, I'm just going to make some black lines. Now these do not have to connect, so these do not have to be an outline per se, but they are going to give you just enough of a line to make sure that you kind of see what's going on with your picture. With the back of my paintbrush, I'm going to add a small highlight on the cat's eyes, and I'm going to add a secondary highlight on my witch's eyes. Now, if you want to add a buckle or anything in there, you can totally do that. And I think I'm going to want a little bit more of a highlight right over here to kind of outline where that hat is. But at this point, we're finished. So remember, your job is to find a color that's going to show up well on your canvas and sign your artwork. I always put my initials in the bottom right corner. I never get to see what you're painting at home unless you post it to our Facebook page, Painting with a Purpose. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Painting with a Purpose, so you're kept up to date on all of the tutorials. And remember, as always, stay kind, stay creative, and stay safe. Have a great day, friends. Bye now.